Hello, welcome back. As you can tell, today we're doing things a little bit differently. I didn't feel like doing an intro and outro, but let's just get into the video, which you can tell by the title. So I'm going to pick out all of the face products. This I use on the eyes. So it is a face product, but technically not for me. This is a blush. So yeah, basically what I wanted to do today is kind of an inventory. I was toying with the idea of doing a full makeup inventory around, the halfway point of the year, but that has come and gone, and it is like mid-August now, so I don't know if it's too late to do an inventory considering I'm going to be doing one in December. So instead, what I am doing is calculating how many of my makeup products are high-end and how many of them are drugstore. Okay, so these are all the things that were in that, white thing. Don't know the name. These next products were all the things that were sort of hidden in my first drawer. So you can tell these get the least amount of use. Those products get the second most amount of use. And then the third category, these products which were in my bathroom, which are in my regular rotation. However, I have been traveling lately. I just got back from a trip and I'm leaving another one in a couple days. And so the products that I brought with me are obviously my, preferred products. And that is all of these. So you can definitely feel free to let me know if you would prefer to get a full-on makeup inventory, even though it is at such a late point in the year. But again, I'm not sure I will do that because this video is kind of fulfilling that purpose in a way. Right now, I'm just going to be showing my face products and the breakdown of high-end versus drugstore. But if you guys like this, I would be happy to do this in the mascara category, in the lip product category, and all of them. And I went to the Taylor Swift concert last week, so that is why I have that 13 on my hand. It's staying strong. Got my nails done, which is a rarity for me. But yeah, let's just get into this video. I'm going to divide these things into categories, so by blushes, by bronzers, etc., and then we will look at the breakdown and how much of my collection is drugstore and how much is high-end. My prediction right now is that it's going to be about 60% drugstore, 40% high-end, but it could be closer to 50-50. I just don't know. I've never done any kind of evaluation like this before. So let's check it out. Oh, and also my guess is that my least favorite products will skew more drugstore, and my most favorite products, aka the products that I brought with me to travel, will be more high-end. Okay, I have arranged them all nicely here, as you can see, by their category. Haven't counted them yet, so let's do that together. So setting spray, we have one setting spray. This is high-end. I'm going to be taking notes on this, so I just put 1H for that. Let's do primer next, actually, because I also only have one. This is from Becca. I mean, you guys know how much I want this to be finished, but alas, it is not. So I've still got one in my collection, and this is high-end. Kind of hard to write like this. Let's do powder next. We've got 3. I'm actually not sure what Nude by Nature counts as. I would say it's more high-end, but I think you may be able to buy it in drugstore. Let me look that up quickly. Wow, that is such a good mirror. Hi. Okay, I looked it up and this costs $30. A mascara is $24. A single eyeshadow is $18. That seems really steep. I think that's even more than the Urban Decay eyeshadows, those ones that are really popular right now, Space Cowboy. So we're gonna say that is high end. I got this from Buns, so I didn't know what the original price was. So we've got 2 high end Sorry, all this stuff is dusty because I do not wipe down my, white makeup thing frequently enough, and I don't reach for these products very often. And then this one is from CoverGirl, so that is Drugstore. We've got 2H1D. So pretty skewed towards high end at the moment, but I think that will change as we move towards blushes. Let's do face products next though, because I don't have very many of those. As you can see, I completely forgot that I had this e.l.f. concealer because Sean actually decluttered it to me, and unfortunately I never liked it because it was so high coverage and so light. Look at that. Obviously I'm tanned right now because it's the summer, but it was just too light on my skin tone. I should probably declutter this, to be honest. Still smells okay, I think. Wow, it's so heavy coverage. Like, that is crazy to me. Anyways, when I do my next declutter, that will probably be going. I think I'm just keeping it as like a backup for safekeeping because I only have one concealer, so, just in case. But we've got the LYS concealer that is high-end. Although it's sort of at the low end of high-end, it is sold at Sephora, but this was pretty reasonably priced, somewhere in the $20 category, maybe like $24. And then this is my only foundation at the moment. This is from Fenty, and again, this is high-end. So we've got 1 Drugstore and 2 high-end. Although maybe I should just write 1 foundation, 2 concealers. There we go, that is the update. So far we've only got 2 Drugstore products. Okay, let's move on to bronzers. As you can tell, I'm just doing the things that have like the lowest numbers first. I think I'll set blush for the last category because there's so many over there. My hand looks so bizarre. Ooh, okay, so as you can see, I've got 3 bronzers. That is actually fewer than I thought, but it's because I've got a couple of face palettes with bronzers. So I just set that as a different category. But we've got this cream one from Fenty. I'm gonna show you how much is left. And we've got this NARS one. These are both, I think, minis. So both of these will for sure be done by the end of the year. And then it would be great to have just 1 powder bronzer remaining. The ones that are a wand that you like put directly on your face, I want one of those, but I can't justify it before finishing these, especially because I'm on a makeup no-buy at the moment. If you didn't know, I will link a video here. This one is from Personnel, which is Drugstore. So we've got 2 high-end and 1 Drugstore. I decided to actually put in 2 categories, powder bronzer and cream bronzer, just because like in the future, I might have more cream bronzers than powder bronzers, and for blushes, for example, I'm dividing that into cream and powder, so it just makes sense to have all the categories be divided the same way. So we got 1 high-end, 1 Drugstore, and then 1 high-end for cream bronzer, as you can tell. So let's move on to the highlights. And again, I'm dividing this into cream/liquid highlight and powder highlight, because I don't think that I will buy liquid highlights in the future. I think it's just easier to have cream and liquid in one category because I'm not someone who is likely to have many liquid products. So we've got 1 liquid, 1 cream, and 2 powder. Again, this is lower than I thought it was, but I think it's because I have those full face palettes in the back of my mind. So NYX, Merit, Becca, and MAC. So out of these, actually the only Drugstore product is the NYX one. It would also be fun to do a video where I show the backstory of all of my makeup products, because I don't feel like I acquire most of my makeup in the way that most people do, which is just like ordering it online or going into stores and buying it. I accumulate makeup from people decluttering it to me. I get it from secondhand places. I have got some NPR. I think it's cool to get your makeup from different places like that. I'm similar with clothing. I used to pretty much exclusively shop for clothing when I traveled because I just thought it was so much more exciting for someone to be like, ooh, where's that from? And you tell them, you know, it was like a store in Germany or something. I only shop secondhand now, so that is a lot harder because not all countries have great secondhand markets, especially for someone like me who I'm not like the most vintage type of shopper, you know what I mean? I have like a pretty basic style, but I did love to accumulate clothing from all over the world and from different places. So that's kind of how I see makeup, even though it's very different. We're rambling here, but yeah, let's track those highlights. So we've got 3 high-end total and 1 drugstore. But yeah, if you would like a video where I sort of break down where everything is from, that would be really fun for me. This I purchased myself when the NYX store opened in the Eaton Center, which was just a huge deal because I think it was the first brick and mortar NYX store anywhere. Could be wrong, there might have been one like in New York, but it was the first one in Canada for sure, so it was like a big deal. I went and waited in line and everything and got this. This was part of my first PR package, first and only. I have not since received any PR, so this is from Merit. This Becca highlight I got from Buns, actually, which I'm so pleased about. I honestly loved all the makeup I've gotten from Buns. And this I actually bought with my friend Zoe. We both got the same one. This was back, like, I don't even want to tell you how long ago, but it was just like such a fun little shopping trip to MAC. We both loved this product. I don't know if she still has hers, but yeah, it's just like a nice memory for me. So that's just a sample of, you know, getting my makeup from various different places. And I also have some makeup that I purchased while traveling as well. So as you can see, I'm not being as thorough as with my makeup inventories where I talk through like every single product, because for the most part you can see what these are. I've talked about pretty much all of them before. I don't think this aspect of my makeup collection has changed too much. I think it's more like the eyeliners and eyeshadows that change year to year. These things are pretty much constant except for the, you know, skin products. So yeah, that is why I'm not going into detail with all these things. If you haven't seen my makeup inventory before, I will link my one from last year here and you can watch that. But again, I will have one at the end of this year. And I don't think my makeup inventory changes as much as some people who like aren't on no buys, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not bringing a ton of new stuff into my collection, so it's probably not as interesting as most of the YouTubers who you watch. But let's move on to cream blushes. Now, I have talked recently about how I am in love with cream blushes. I did not used to like them. Something changed, and now I much prefer cream blushes over powder, and I rarely reach for my powder blushes anymore, which is wild to me. And I actually use a lot of different things as cream blush now. I use a ton of my lipsticks. So I did contemplate including lipsticks in this category because I haven't reached for these 2 cream blushes in a long time. I use these 2 a bunch, but I also use my lipsticks a lot more. But I decided to keep it strictly what is blush because the lipsticks I also use as lip products. I just wanted it to be easier. I'm not the kind of person who, you know, strictly uses products for their intended purpose. I use them for all different purposes. I use this as eyeshadow, you know. So just keep that in mind that there are more products that I could have included, but I just figured it was easier to keep the lipsticks in the lip category and the blushes in the blush category. So let's start with the fave, what got me started on my cream blush journey. This is Spark, the cloud paint from Glossier. I actually went to the Glossier store in, I just have to swatch it because, just a little bit. Oh, it's so red, but it works so well. I went to the Glossier store in LA recently and had such a fun time, but I did not buy anything, which honestly pretty impressive. However, I now know that because I was there and I was swatching all of the colors, I want the orange shade of this, so one day I might get that. But as you can tell, I have way too many blushes at the moment, and way too many of them I don't use. So I should probably finish at least one of my blushes before getting one more, because when I got this one, I hadn't panned any of my blushes, I didn't declutter any of them, I just brought a new one in. And blush is one of the categories in my collection that is larger than it needs to be, but I am nowhere near close to finishing any of my blushes because I haven't been using any of them. I've only been using my lipsticks as cream blush, so maybe I could declutter one of them soon. But what I have told myself is if I bring a new one in, I'm going to declutter this one. So I already know, I'm eyeing it. This is the next one, you're leaving soon. But we're still on cream blushes, so sorry about that. This is Glossier, as you can tell. This one is NYX. I have recently fallen back in love with it, and I actually purchased this, I believe, with this one when the store opened. And then I've got these two from Milk, which I just find that these fade super easily. I don't love the formula of either of them. They're fine. Like, I'll use them if I need just the tiniest bit of color but don't want to look like I'm wearing makeup kind of thing. However, that is not usually how I feel, so I don't get much use out of them. But we got 3 high-end and 1 drugstore. This is actually fascinating how much higher the high-end component is than the drugstore. I think it's just based on categories, because my mascara collection, I think I have 2 high-end mascaras and like 23 drugstore ones. You know what I mean? So it just depends on the category. But this is going to be a lot more skewed high-end than I expected. So let's move on to the largest category, powder blush. Did this all fit? Can you see all of them? Okay, let's put like with like. So we've got 2 MAC, we've got 2 Tarte, we've got 2 NYX, then we've got Kiko, Milano, and Wet n Wild. So these 4 are high-end, and then these 5 are drugstore. So finally, we've got a category where we've got more drugstore than high-end. And this kind of tracks with my preferences. Skincare stuff I would prefer to spend a little bit more money on, but drugstore, I find that they make incredible blushes. However, I've not found a drugstore blush as good as Cloud Paint, but I've actually only tried 1 drugstore liquid blush. So who knows, there might be some out there that are this good. But yeah, powder blushes, definitely more drugstore, and I think that makes sense. Last category. Okay, so as I mentioned, now we got face palettes. Let's just go through them. This is another product I got while I was traveling. This one from Kiko, I think maybe from Germany. And this one from Collection is from England. I've hit pan on that one. I haven't reached for this in a long time. I probably need to, because it is my oldest face palette for sure. This one from Hourglass. See, the common theme of these 4 face palettes, even though they're nice, I never reach for them. So I don't actually know if it's because of the palettes in particular or just face palettes are not a thing for me. Tarte Hampton's Weekender. I find this one a little bit much, like it's too, all the shades. I don't like the texture and I don't like the colors. And then we've got this Kim Kwan product, which I think I just don't have the right brush for it. I never reach for it as well. But we've got these 3 that are high-end and then just 1 that is drugstore. So I've written that in, and now what I'm going to do is go through the tallies of all of these and figure out how many high-end, how many drugstore, and what the breakdown is. Okay, this breakdown is actually wild. Just pull everything together like that. That looks nicer. Normally I would save the breakdown for the outro, but as I mentioned, I'm not doing intro and outro. I just did not feel like getting fully ready today. It's just one of those days, so I apologize for that. But here is the final breakdown. 21 high-end products, 11 drugstore products out of 32 total face products. So we've got 65.6% high-end and 34.4% drugstore. Is that not wild? That is mind-boggling to me. I think because up until what feels like so recently, I had such a drugstore collection. Like, all of the things that I've had for a long time, with the exception of maybe this MAC highlight, all of them were Drugstore because I bought exclusively Drugstore. I think this makes sense in a way because as we get older, we have a little bit more spending money. And, you know, if we prefer high-end stuff, then we would buy high-end. But it's still surprising to me. So yeah, that is my collection. I'm surprised, but I think that's the main takeaway of this. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to know if you saw that coming, if you're surprised by that, and if you would like to see other videos similar to this, like watch me do a breakdown of my mascara collection, my lip product collection, my eyeliners, etc. Again, I know I was way off with this, but I swear, like in those other categories, I don't think it's going to be the same breakdown, and who knows, maybe overall it will shake out to the same percentage that I was expecting, that sort of 60-40 or 50-50. But yeah, that is my collection of face products, blush, highlight, bronzer, concealer, foundation, all that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not going to talk about a book that I've been reading lately today because you can't see my face, but I so appreciate you watching. Let me know if you like this kind of video or if you prefer regular inventory videos. And that's going to be it for today. Here, I will show you myself. This is what I look like right now. I've got white cast sunscreen on, so that's why I look so pale. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!